Hey guys, what's up? This is Campo and welcome back to my channel. And on today's video, we're going to be talking War Machine after his buff. I recently got this guy awakened from the 6-star arena, as you can see here, and now he is rank 2 and awakened, and I believe that's a pretty reasonable level to test out a champion, see their abilities and how they do in some reasonable content. And I will say that my initial impression after a little bit of testing was better than expected. He's certainly not like a top tech champion in the game, but his pre-fights are pretty useful. They might actually have some uses in difficult content and war in the upcoming months and years. So I was pretty happy that I was also able to take some fights with him. And the thing that really impressed me is that as I was making this video, I had some theories and some ideas about where I wanted to test him. And pretty much all of them, I was able to get the fight down in one take. Now, listen, I'm a YouTuber. I know how sometimes like you go back in like multiple times, you know, 2, 3, 4, sometimes more than 5 times to get that like perfect recording of a fight. And with this one, I literally just went into these lanes. I was like, hey, he looks like he'll be good here. And I was able to record them in one take. And to me, that says a lot because it means like I didn't have to overthink it. I didn't have to like weave together this magical rotation. And yeah, I mean, the damage is adequate, even if you don't have to get to that giant special 3 with the Furies. Like the armor breaks do plenty of damage. His pre-fights add some damage. And you'll see that I used him with some pretty reasonable team synergies in Act 7. And yeah, he performed pretty well. Now, I will say when he first came out, he was bugged so that the pre-fights didn't apply to himself. And I know that I was a little confused about this. I was wondering if Kabam had changed the text so that War Machine could not apply the pre-fights to himself. But it turns out that he definitely can. And that adds a lot of utility. And, you know, I discovered this because I was just kind of going through uncollected quests, and I'm going to show the clip in the background. But I was like, hey, I wonder if these things are working yet. And I went up against this Hawkeye and took an arrow to the face. And as you can see, the bleed debuff is purifying, which means these pre-fights are working for War Machine. And, you know, that's huge because he gets multiple of the pre-fight charges back every time he wins a fight. So if he's able to win fights, he's able to basically have like an infinite number of these pre-fights to put on himself, making him a very interesting utility champion. So anyway, we're going to show some gameplay. I hope you enjoy this ride, and hopefully you will agree with me that, you know, he's not like the greatest tech champion that was ever released, but of the buffs that came out this month, I do want to make a strong case that I think he may have gotten the best end of the deal there. So enjoy it, and here's some War Machine. Okay, so next up, we're going to be doing an effective damage test. And I like to not always go up against Winter Soldier for damage because, as we all know, the AI is very passive. And, you know, additionally, you don't have to worry about the special 3. So sometimes it gives you a little bit of a false interpretation of a realistic fight. So I like to go up against this Deadpool in Act 6. And we put the skirmish boost on because with War Machine, you should be able to get that on every single fight. It gives us a little bit more damage and debuff duration. And what we're going to see here is that I'm avoiding, you know, what you've probably seen in other YouTube videos, which is, you know, 2 special 2s and then a special 3, because most fights are going to be over before you have the need to get to that special 3 to get the Furies. So I'm going to show you that with the 2 armor breaks, a rank 2 is going to be hitting plenty hard. Now, if you do want to see what his maximum potential is, I would steer you in the direction of Metal Sonic Dude, who has some Abyss of Legends solos already using his max potential. But, you know, what you'll see is that, you know, there's a lot of champions out there who have a way to manipulate their damage to be the absolute maximum possible. You know, Guardian comes to example. But let's just take that in for a second, right? 10k, 16k crits on that special 2, not bad at all. But yeah, speaking of Guardian, like there's a way to just do like a million special attacks and then 18k crit on the heavy there, and then, get off one massive special 2. But, how realistic is that in just a normal matchup? So, obviously if the health pools are huge, you can try to get that special 3 in here. But as you can see, he absolutely wrecked that Deadpool there, just dealing with the armor breaks, refreshing them maybe one time, and yeah, seeing some really big numbers. So, War Machine's damage is definitely usable. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the pre-fights for the rest of the video, and in this first section we're going to talk about energy resistance. And before I go on, I do want to steer you in the direction of Cam MCOC, who is one of my favorite YouTubers and content creators. But actually just this morning, he made a very extensive video about the pre-fights of War Machine, and particularly how you can affect the energy resistance of basically every tech champ in the game. And I was really happy that this came out because I think it will complement my video. And I don't think either of us are going to steal each other's thunder because I'm looking at a more sort of complete review. But he really gets sort of like down and dirty about how good these pre-fights are and how to use them. So I'm going to link that in the description. But in my video, we're just going to take a quick example of War Machine going up against a Domino in variant 1. And I'm going to put these graphics up from Aunt May. As you can see, the max energy resistance of a Guardian, this is a 6-star rank 2 Guardian, it's in the 8,000s. And the way this pre-fight works is it converts your armor rating into energy resistance. So we can see that the armor up buff of War Machine is around 3,500 there. And when you add his base armor rating to it, it's going to end up around like 4,100. And what I found is that this is the equivalent of a SIG 145 Guardian in terms of the energy resistance. So, when it comes to these two champions, Guardian is a wonderful champ. And, if you have him and you can SIG 200 him, I highly, highly recommend it. I've seen some amazing things from him. But, not everyone has the ability to just use all those SIG stones on a champion like Guardian at this time. So if you do have War Machine, even an unawakened War Machine can basically get the same amount of energy resistance on himself, and it's a similar level on other tech champions just by activating this pre-fight at the beginning of a fight. And I think it's a very interesting substitute. So yeah, check out Cam's video for a little bit more detail, but now we're going to move on to some Domino matchups where we see this in practice. All right, so I remember this fight from variant 1 being very tricky. Back then, Domino was probably one of the worst folks that you would want to fight. And I only have Doom on the team because he took the first fight. It was Heimdall. And okay, so this is a Domino. There's cornered, so we're not going to want to activate our ruptures. And I'm going to put on the skirmish boost and the fortify boost. And Fortify is that one I was just talking about where it converts your armor rating into energy resistance. The other thing that makes War Machine good against Domino, as we're going to see, is that he's one of those champions that doesn't have a chance for his abilities to proc. Basically, everything that he does has a 100% chance to proc, which means the only time that he is going to crit fail is if Domino stops one of his abilities, which, she has a 15% ability accuracy reduction at all times. And you'll see throughout this matchup that actually I do not crit fail that much. So I was actually kind of annoyed. I wanted to get a little bit more data, but there are a few times that it crit fails and you'll see it doesn't tick for that much. The other thing to notice about this is, remember, in variant content, the attack ratings are quite high, and you'll see that I am taking some blocked hits to kind of recharge the masochism there so that I can get some regular parries in, and they're really not doing that much damage. I'm still sitting pretty happily at 98% health after those blocked hits. I have the one armor break on me, and I'm doing some pretty good damage there. We did get a crit fail there, but as you can see, it was only ticking for like 100 and something, so really not that much at all. Again, taking some blocked hits. A 6-star has the adrenaline mechanics, so I'm really taking not that much damage at all. I could have played this fight better, of course, with where you can kind of like dash back and punish Domino because she has that double medium. But even so, I mean, you know, if I were to have this champion as he is today, back when Variant 1 first came out, I would have been pretty happy to take this Domino with him because I remember this fight being pretty painful back in the day. So anyway, as we're finishing up this fight, we now have 2 armor breaks. And it's going to go pretty quickly from here because the damage really ramps up once you have 2. So we're able to land a parry. I was hoping that heavy attack would crit, but I was able to refresh the armor break. So now we're in Assassin's range. Throw 1 special 1 and that should do it. So, you know, as you can see there, it was a pretty easy fight for him, and he didn't lose that much damage from the block as well. So now we're going to compare this. This is with the pre-fights, okay? So as you can see, it's ticking for 153 crit failure. This is no pre-fights. And as you can see now, it's ticking for 453. Now we're going to look at the damage. So let's take a look at what the hits are doing with the pre-fights, with the skirmish. All right, we're going to analyze this in a little bit, but that is with pre-fights. This is without pre-fights. So as you can see, the numbers are a little bit less. This is all with 2 armor breaks. So now let's break down these numbers of with and without. So when it comes to the crit fail damage, without pre-fights, it was only ticking for 153. With, it was ticking for 453. So we have about a 1/3 energy reduction there. When it comes to the medium attacks, they were hitting with the pre-fight for 3602, without 3195. So we've got a 12.7% increase in damage. And then I was able to crit a light hit. And as you can see the numbers there, 5446 with the pre-fight, 4831 without. So again, that's 12.7 increase, meaning that the skirmish debuff is giving us a little bit extra damage. And like I said before, you can utilize this pre-fight in just about every matchup that you're using War Machine, because every time he wins his fights, he gets another persistent charge, so you can always have that armory boost active. Alright, so I hope you've stuck around till this point because this is going to be kind of the featured presentation, but we're going to take on some Act 7 lanes, and I am bringing him here with a synergy team, but I chose alt champs that I enjoy using and have at either, you know, max rank 5-star or rank 2 or rank 3, and I chose this path because it has Encroaching Stun. And I do want to showcase that in War there's an annoying Encroaching Stun node, and with this pre-fight that has the cleanse debuffs, he basically gets like 2 mistakes with Encroaching Stun, where the stun debuff is just going to purify and you're not going to have to worry about it. So you'll even see right now, because of Hurt Locker, I'm trying to get to a special 2 and I fired off now, and as you can see the Encroaching Stun timer just went off. It took one of my cleanse things out and it said purified. So at that time I didn't have to worry about it. Now my next goal is to build up to a special 1. And you can see with just some of these synergies and with the armory boost active, he's hitting really hard. Now I don't want to burn both of my cleanses right away, so I am going to fire that special 1 so that it does work with the Encroaching Stun. But like we saw with the Domino fight, you know, I'm barely taking any damage on the block. I get my 2 freebies with the cleanse passives, and this fight, you know, which could be moderately annoying because you're going to want to bait the special 1s of Omega Red all the time, is actually working out pretty well. So this time I do throw it so I don't have to worry about the timer. I still have my 1 freebie cleanse if needed. 22k heavy attack there, not too bad. I've got my 2 armor breaks, and you know, just like I said before, you don't really have to get to that special 3. And you know, because I have those little, you know, like mistake proof cleanse, like right there, I didn't time that well, but once again, Encroaching Stun was purified, no issue. And just notice what those combat power rate suppressed debuffs are doing as well. It kind of controls his power a little bit. So, you know, there was nothing to worry about in that fight. We're going to move on, same path. I figured, well, Omega Red, I had class advantage, and, you know, it was a pretty easy fight. He went down pretty quickly. What if we go against someone like Stealthy here? And, you know, I have to worry about the evade. His specials are a little bit more annoying to avoid. But, you know, first of all, this is an example that you basically have infinity pre-fights when you're actually fighting with War Machine. So the game plan here is going to be exactly the same, you know, slow combo so that we don't get evaded there. And I don't remember if I tried to time this first encroaching stun or not. I think I do to kind of save my, well, no, I guess I didn't. So I wasted one of my cleanses. So now, you know, I only have one left, which is fine. So here we go. We evade that special 2. He gets his spider sense back, so we have to be careful. We're going to just slow combo until he evades and that goes away. So now we can fight normally. The encroaching stun timer is almost over, so we're going to be able to time that special 2 perfectly. All right, so we have 1 armor break. Try to bait out a special 1 here and get to our special 1 so that we don't worry about Hurt Locker. Once again, we slow combo, we get rid of that evade charge, we refresh the armor break. So again, everything's going very well. I'm not too stressed out about this fight yet. I want to get this special 1 off, and I do. So we still have 1 cleanse charge left. Let's see. So as you can see, the suppression is helping us with power control a little bit at this point. The next special I need to throw off is a special 2. So are we going to do it now, or are we going to let the cleanse help us with encroaching stun? That I don't know. Either way, I refresh that armor break. And again, a perfect encroaching stun play. So that's not to say like when you're fighting encroaching stun, you don't play the node like you normally would, but we all know that there are scenarios when you're going up against encroaching stun and you just can't throw that special when you want to. So the fact that you get like 2 freebies is absolutely amazing. And here, that time I didn't have any freebies left, so I threw it into his block and he punished me there. So that was a little bit of a mistake. But fortunately, once again, because of adrenaline, because of that giant armor buff that we have, I didn't really take that much damage from an Act 7 opponent there. So again, just a really, really good counter to encroaching stun. All right, so this is going to be the last path that we tackle in this video, and this is in the most recent story content that came out, 7.2. This is in the quest 7.2.1, and I'm taking on a path that has Flare as well as Static Blast, which is going to make us lose power. But for champions who are heroes and have an armor up buff, you are going to be able to counter that power drain a little bit, which doesn't matter too much. So obviously we have Flare here, so our damage is very inflated. But I wanted to showcase this because eventually on this path we're going to get into his Awakened ability, which is what I did that grind for, to get the SIG 20. And you will find in the next fight that we do actually activate that Awakened ability, which is sort of an advanced version of Empty the Clip that we had before, which is going to give us some passive regen stacks and some passive furies. So in this matchup, I did put the energy resistance pre-fight on because I knew I might be blocking a couple of his special attacks. I also was just spamming special 1 to get the suppression and sort of make me be a little bit more aggressive by manipulating his combat power rate. So first cable, not too bad. We only lost a little bit of damage from Flare. And in this matchup, we do not have class advantage anymore. I'm going to once again activate Skirmish because like I said before, you basically have like infinity of the skirmish to just keep applying as long as you win fights. And we are going to see the Awakened ability happen here. Now, again, this fight's a little bit more annoying because there's tenacity involved and, you know, we don't have class advantage. We're not going to be able to land our debuffs too easily, including our stuns. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, one way or another, I'm going to get into that range of health where I'm going to have to get the Awakened ability. So surprisingly, a lot of those debuffs stuck. I'm not sure if that was just really good RNG or what. 9 debuffs sticking on Agent Venom is kind of funny. We're doing some backdrafting light intercept type things here, and there's the Awakened ability. So, you know, the thing that's nice about it is that they are passives now, so there's no way for it to interact with buff control. But as you can see, the Furies are we're doing a lot, and that regen is really slow and really steady, and it really put us into a good range so that we're going to be able to finish this fight. That time he didn't shrug, and yeah, we were fine. So, you know, he's already a really tanky champ that has a lot of health and has a big armor up, but on top of that, he has this regen, which is going to proc every fight, and because it is a passive, it's not going to interact with things like buffet or power snack or anything like that. And finally, this is going to be the last fight of the video. We're going to take a look at this Havok. Obviously, he's a good Havok counter because he has the armor up buff. And, you know, that means that even though I'm going to have to rely on my awakened ability right now at the beginning of this fight, eventually I'm going to have some plasma debuffs on me, which are going to help heal me the rest of the way. So, you know, again, don't let these damage numbers really influence you because we've got Flare here. But I just wanted to kind of show, like, he's sort of a low-key option for this path. You know, he could have kept going, but I knew this video was getting kind of long. There was a Blade and a Domino and an Ultron later on the path, and, you know, I bet he could have taken them, but I wanted to kind of keep this video under 20 minutes. So as you can see here, I'm healing pretty easily. Nothing to worry about. Big heavy attack there was really nice. It doesn't really matter if I bait the special 1 or the special 2, if I reparry, if I just bait heavies. It's just kind of like I have this fight completely under control. Once again, using that special 1, which has some interesting utility with the damage over time and the suppression, and Havok is going to go down pretty easily there. So anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Once again, I wanted to just kind of show that War Machine is maybe not the top champion in the game, maybe not a rank 3 candidate for everybody, but I think he's going to be making an appearance on war teams for his pre-fights. And I also wanted to showcase that he really holds his own as a champion fighting by himself. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed it, and share it with your alliance mates if you think you learned anything today. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks for everything, and I will catch you next time.